Here we go, day number 12. I almost said a different number. It's day 12. We're going to start things off with Volume 1 by Magic Sword, submitted by Don. And this was another fun album. You know, we listened to Awakening a little bit earlier in Music Club, and I think it's really similar to Awakening, coming from the same artist. That isn't a huge shock. You know, they definitely have their aesthetic figured out. They have their personality and what they're trying to be. They know what they're trying to be. But this was a really epic album, and let me check something real quick, because I believe I preferred this to Awakening, and I just want to make sure the rating I give it aligns with that, which it will. Now, while you can compare this to Awakening, I think it's more useful, or at least I find it more useful, to compare it to Thunderbird, since we had that pretty nearby. And Thunderbird, compared to Awakening, is very different. Thunderbird leans into that like hair metal sound, whereas Awakening is really trying to be more grand and epic with it, especially in comparison, I believe, or not. I gotta get these straight. Volume 1, that's the album I'm talking about today. Volume 1 is more grand and more epic. Grandiose. Maybe that's the adverb I'm looking. That's not even an adverb. I'm fucking this whole thing up. Either way, I liked Volume 1. I thought it was cool. I thought it was fun. It had a lot of energy and really cohesive sound throughout. They, stuck with it. I didn't get bored. There were slower moments where some of it kind of sounded like each other, but it really did have a nice flow throughout it that kept it interesting, kept it nice, kept it grand and epic. And Biscuit's about to jump in. You can do it, sweetie. You can do it, Biscuit. Oh, now she's shy. Volume 1 by Magic Sword. I liked it. I thought it was cool. I'm going to give it an 8. I liked it. Next up, we have Saturday Night Wrist by Deftones. This was a miscellaneous submission. It is not my favorite Deftones album. This is terrible. I can't talk. And she knocked over the suitcase. Yay! Okay. Saturday Night Wrist is not my favorite Deftones album. It's my third Deftones album. I want to listen to more Deftones. But I've listened to Round of the Fur as part of Music Club, and then before Music Club I listened to White Pony, and I still think White Pony is my favorite. But Deftones have this really unique capacity to combine hard alternative rock, maybe even a little nu metal in there, and that really abyssal sound with the absolutely mystic and dreamlike vocals of what's his face, Dunkachino, or something like that. Chino, yeah. His vocals are what define Deftones, and the sound that they craft around them consistently is impressive. It really creates an atmosphere unlike any of its contemporaries, unlike any of its peers. And I really, really like that. I love that about them. Now, on Saturday Night Wrist, some of the tracks just didn't hit. It's kind of a situation where I know they can do better. I know they have done better. But still, it's still really nice. And I still really like Deftones. I really like the sound that they've cultivated. And I want to listen to more. Like, I need to listen to, Ohms. I need to listen to Koi no Yokai. Something like that. And then the one with the owl. I don't remember the name of that one. But these are all ones that I want to listen to, because I want to learn more about how their sound evolves. So, Saturday Night Wrist, that's going to get an 8. Another 8. This is actually going to... Moving on, we have Toxicity by System of a Down from Jude. And I had never listened to this album. And I get it. I do. It's really special. It's so unique. It's so individual in what it does. I think Serge Tankian, is that his name? Tankarian, something like that. He's Armenian. He has a wild ass voice. He does, and at times, it sounds like clown music. Not in a bad way, but it sounds like circus clown music, which is cool, I think. I think that's cool. But despite that, and despite you can tell he's having a blast doing it. He's loving every minute of it, Jerry. He's able to make songs about like pretty dark and serious topics and treat it with the respect that it deserves. He's able to turn it off. He knows when is a good time. Like, what other album can you have a song about neglectful parents and suicidal ideation, and also just a song about, I'm sure it's a euphemism, but it's funnier if it isn't, just a song about pogo sticks? That's super special. The opening track, circus clown vocals interjected with how fucked up the American prison system is. Man's a genius. I gotta be real. Was it my favorite listen? No, but I liked it. I thought it was good, and it was certainly worth listening to. Like, I get the hype. This album is so unique, so interesting, so individual in what it's able to do. And I think if I had to sum it up into one word, it's delightful. It was a delightful listen. So we have perfect 8s so far. This is also an 8. 3 8s in a row. And unfortunately, to break the streak, let's talk about today's album, Ice Melt by Crumb from Jake. And it was good. It's psychedelic pop, which I like. I like more than, I guess, traditional pop most of the time. Excuse me. I like it more than traditional pop most of the time. And this was well crafted and well executed psych pop. But it didn't have much standout material to me. Like when you're chasing a sound, you're not, I think, going to be able to like make a mark. And it's not to accuse Crumb of particularly chasing a sound, but I feel like they didn't do a lot to distinguish themselves from other psychedelic pop groups. And it's fine, they're allowed, of course, to make the music that they like to make and that they want to create. And, good for them. Good for them for doing that. And I feel like they did a good job. I just don't think, for me, there was anything particularly interesting or anything particularly, ear-catching on this album. Which is okay. I think it was just an okay album. I think it was good. Let me swap those. I think it was a good album that I just felt okay about. It's fine. They didn't do anything wrong with it. It's just didn't do it for me. But I can tell what they were going for, and I think they did a good job chasing that sound. Not mimicking. That's really derisive. They did a really good job creating that sound. Finding what they wanted to do and doing it. Like, production-wise, great. Vocals performed well. The lyrics, interesting. But outside of one moment that kind of reminded me of King Gizzard, like a little bit of a Giz riff in there, it just didn't feel very distinctive. So Ice Melt by Crumb, perfectly acceptable album, perfectly cromulent album. We're going to give it a 6.5, and I'll see you all tomorrow.